Welcome to Detroit's Darkest Times. I want you to do the big three. If you've been watching my videos, you know the big three is the subscribe, the notification bell, and the like. Today we're going to talk about things at the Detroit train station on Michigan Avenue and 14th Street, my bad. Things that happen at this place over the years. When me and my friends were younger, we used to go to this place and hustle money, ride their carts they had where people would put their luggage on and take their luggage inside the train station. And these carts was made like a shopping buggy, kind of like the bottom part of a shopping buggy, and then it had like an upright handle with actually a brake on it, no basket. And people would put their luggage on the bottom part of it and take them into the train station like that. And this station has a lot of history behind it. The last train that left the station was January 5th, 1988. After that, it was targeted, urban explorers and photographs, stuff like that inside the station. Then they had a lot of vandalism. Then also they had a lot of graffiti. People would go in there, and tag up the place. Then they also had scrappers and everything strip the place out. And this station was just full of history. And it had a lot of stories behind it. This station was in a lot of documentaries, movies. You might be familiar with the Four Brother movie. This station was in the background of that movie as it's coming on. And many more, this station's been in a lot of documentaries, a lot of movies, stuff like that. And I'm just glad they never tore it down because it stayed abandoned for many years. And it just has a lot of history, so, And it, when it was abandoned for many years, it opened back up June of 2024. And this station years back, it also shipped a lot of Detroiters off to the war and brought them back home for about 75 years. The first train left this station December 26, 1913. That just gives you an idea of how long this station's been around. But, it being made of concrete and stuff like that, that's what's good about concrete or, brick houses and stuff like that. They'll just last a long time. Versus if it was made out of wood, or siding or something like that. It took about 3,000 people to bring this station back to life after it was condemned. So it took a lot of work to restore it and get it in motion where it can be used. I remember years back when I was a kid, we took a field trip on Amtrak train to the Jiffy Mix Company, where they make Jiffy Mix for like cakes and icing and stuff like that. And they gave everybody, when we left, they gave everybody a box of Jiffy Mix. So a lot of us was eating this Jiffy Mix on the train on the way back. And it was a nice Amtrak train. It had like knobs up above you where you're sitting at, where you could turn them and it would actually like turn air on. Like all you had to do was just turn it and it would blow air out. So we thought that was pretty cool. This place has been around for a lifetime. Some people call it Michigan Central Station. I've always called it the train station because it's right in my neighborhood where I grew up at. And it's actually by 14th Street and Michigan Avenue. So if you're not from Detroit and you ever go to Detroit, you want to check this place out. Because now it's the Ford Motor Company had redid it, and the lower peninsula of the building is open to the public. So you could actually go in, get coffee, look around, and see the history. They left some of the history there that they could. And it's just an awesome place to check out. So if you not from Detroit and you go to Detroit, this is one spot you want to check out. And I also name a few other places. If you happen to go there, this is one. Check this place out. Then check out the Renaissance Center. Then check out Cobo Hall. Then check out Belle Isle Island. Check out Scripps Park. That's on Trumbull Avenue. That's where I grew up at. And I actually grew up on Trumbull from 4th Street, is where the main post office is, all the way down to Warren, where Wayne State University is. So that whole strip right there is, where I grew up at. And other places in Detroit. But that was my main stretch when I was a young man. And it's very interesting, a place to check out. Also, you have White Castles on Michigan Avenue. Then they have a couple of little spots look similar to White Castle, but they're just like cafes like. And I always called them the little brother of White Castle because they got a place up Michigan Avenue. If you drive toward Dearborn, you'll see it. It's called Tailways Hamburger. And it's a miniature, to me, it's a miniature White Castle, you know what I mean? But they got some killer coffee there. If you go there and just order a large double, they'll hook you up. And it tastes really good. And it's a good place to stop at if you're visiting Detroit. And then they also have another little restaurant that's similar to that. I also call it the little brother of White Castle. It's on 4th Street, over by the big warehouse where they pick up different things like produce and stuff like that. And so it's interesting to go there and check it out. Then you can also check out the Hart Plaza. And if you're there during the Mother's Day weekend, the Hoedown is a good thing to check out. And then who can forget about Wonder Bread? I know everybody's heard of Wonder Bread, but in my neighborhood, the Wonder Bread Company was there. And in the neighborhood, certain times they're baking. You could smell the bread and the bacon all through the neighborhood for a certain amount of blocks. You could smell it. But now they had changed this into the Motor City Casino. So actually, the casino in Detroit City used to be Wonder Bread. For those of you, that's going to visit, and that's a little history that you might keep in mind. And there's just a lot of places there. Like when I was coming up, we had JoJo's Record Shop on Grand River. We had Carl's Chop House. That was on Grand River. Scripps Park. We had a McDonald's right across from Scripps Park. There's a library right by Scripps Park. And there's just a lot of things to check out, A lot of things have changed, but there's still some things that's still there, So it's really good to go check it out. A lot of people do go over there and, film and ride through the city and stuff like that. But really, that ain't quite doing it. You need to actually get out to some of these spots and really check it out, And just do it at a decent hour. Best time to do it is in the morning times, But yeah, it's really nice there to film, take pictures, And Belle Isle is a good spot to go to. They changed this island into a state park, but you're still welcome to go there. It just, some things you can do there and some things you can't do there, because back in the day, it was kind of like, they still had some rules there, but it was kind of like open season. You could pretty much, enjoy yourself over there. Just put it that way. So it's really interesting. But this train station is really historic, and it's something you gotta check out. It's just a must. And then also, you don't want to forget, you want to check out, if you're there, just visiting, you want to also check out Woodmere Cemetery. There's a lot of history behind this place. And you could actually just go in there and drive through, and you'll be amazed how big the cemetery is, really, once you drive through it. But it's interesting, and a lot of stories behind it, different things, Also, in the 80s, there was different crews in Detroit in the 80s. It was not a lot, but it was just some. It was like the Young Boys Incorporated, Selden Mafia, the Latin Counts, the Earl Flynn's, and the last but not least, the Purple Gang. And here's the dress code I always liked. Was the Godfather hats, the Mac Chuli jackets, black with the fur around the hood, gold chain, gold watch, black sweatshirt, Levi's, Adidas shoes, or Jingle boots. There ain't too many people know what Jingle boots are, but it was just a fresh get up, to wear and stuff. And a lot of people, were dressing like that back then. So it was really the hookup. It's very interesting. And I'm sure that there's going to be more movies to come with that train station in it, whether it be inside or outside, something like that. But it's just real interesting, you know. Now, today's time, they have like concerts in front of the station and stuff like that. So that's pretty smooth. And, you know, I just think that's pretty awesome for the city and people that wants to go there and see a concert. So hopefully, if you're there visiting and you go check it out, you never know, you might end up, you know, showing up when they're having a concert or something, you know. So that would be pretty cool, you know, to check out. And the old Tiger Stadium, it's tore down, and we used to run around that place a lot. And now they got, you know, now they got a lot of new places there, like the new Tiger Stadium. Then they got the other stadiums and stuff like that. So for, you know, the Detroit Lions, Detroit Red Wings, things like that. So there's a lot of interesting things to check out there if you go there on vacation. And I recommend it for people to go check out because it's really a lot of things you could do over there. And they got the People Mover. You can ride it. You know, you can check out the Renaissance Center. The Riverwalk. The Riverwalk, it goes for a long ways. You can, you know, walk it or get you one of them electric bikes or whatever, riding out through there. But, you know, you can get a lot of good pictures over there, taking pictures of Canada because it's right across the Detroit River. That's Windsor, Canada. And, you know, back in the day, I used to work for a tire shop in Detroit City. It's not directly under the Canada Bridge, but it's beside it. But it's kind of, I just say it's under it because the bridge is above it. But back in the day, I used to go to Windsor, Canada every day with the dude that I worked with, and he drove the truck. But at that time, you only had to pay $2 to go over there and $2 to come back. And all you needed was an ID, you know, whether it be a state ID or driver's license, whatever. That's all you needed. Nowadays, you need a passport and, you know, things of that nature. So it's a lot different now. So it ain't that easy the way it used to be years back. But it's still, you know, it's worth going over there. And if you wanted to go over there from Detroit while you're visiting there, you can actually go under the Detroit River in a car. They got a tunnel that goes under the river over to Canada. Or you can take the Ambassador Bridge and go over the bridge over the Detroit River to Canada. And Windsor, Canada is a pretty nice place. Last time I've been there, it's been a minute since I've been there, but it was awful clean when I went over there, and I really couldn't believe it. It was just the streets and sidewalks and all that was just real clean back in the day. So that's another place you can check out. And they just have a lot of stuff downtown that you can, you know, a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, stuff like that. So it's really the spot to go visit, you know. And but you know, I recommend if you go, try to stay at least 5 days. You know, because sometimes if you just go there and you're only able to stay a couple days or something, you really ain't gonna, you know, you really ain't gonna be able to see much. You'll be able to see a little bit, but if you got like a 5 day span or maybe a 7 day span, you can really check out Detroit City. You know, and there's a lot of history behind it. You know, you could before you go on vacation there, you could actually just, you know, Google the city and you could find out a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good stuff happen there, a lot of bad stuff happen. You know, it's just it's like the recipe book. You know what I mean? It's just got good, bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? But it's interesting, you know, and things to see is just unbelievable over there, you know. A lot of history behind that place, you know. So there's many things that, you know, many movies that could be made there because there's just so much different stuff. And matter of fact, Beverly Hills Cop, you know, he started his first show off there. Then he did his last show was not too long ago. He had did there too, you know. So it's really interesting, you know, to somebody wanted to film a movie and stuff like that. I'd really like to have a movie of my life story that I could, you know, it would be really interesting because, you know, I'm trying to give y'all as much as I can on here, but there is, and I will give y'all a lot more once I get enough subscribers. But if I just got people just, you know, clicking on and listening and not subscribing and stuff like that, it's only going to be a limited stuff that you're going to hear, you know, because I got to get enough subscribers to really put it out. And also, if I get enough subscribers, I'm going to do a full circle and start at the beginning, and then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and then I can, you know, give you the story, which is really interesting, you know. And some things, you know, you'll hear that you just will not believe, you know what I mean? But it's all 100%, you know, and it's really interesting. So you want to, you know, subscribe to this channel and just, there's no telling what you might hear each time you check out my channel. Because I'm trying to give you, you know, as much as I possibly can. And it's all interesting, you know, from, you know, 1 to 100. But the thing is, you know, I'm just, I'd like to get enough subscribers where we can get in depth, and you know, just things that'll blow your mind that probably never even heard of. But my story is real interesting, so you know, this is why I'm sharing it. And then I want it to be, you know, be known. And later down the road, I might do a book, you know what I mean? But it ain't really about the money for me, you know what I mean? The the main thing is just me telling the story and telling my story and what all, you know, the history that I know of around Detroit City. And then there's many things that, you know, I'm going to share with everybody, and it, you know, just as time goes, and it, you know, each video just have a certain amount of things on it and topics that I'm going to talk about, stuff like that. And so it's real interesting. And this is the place to check out 100% if you go anywhere on vacation. Go to Detroit. And they at one time, now they might still have this. I'm not for sure. You can check it out. But these days, you can just have whatever you want made on a shirt or whatever, anyways. But at one time, at Gibraltar Trade Center, they used to sell shirts that, you know, would say, I'm so bad, I vacation in Detroit. Then they would have shirts with a 357 Magnum on them, and it'd be like Detroit's credit card. It'd be a 357 Magnum, and just different sayings on shirts and stuff. So a lot of people bought them shirts, and you know, you can get Detroit jackets and everything, you know. Uh, but there's some things you can get in Detroit that, you know, they make that you would have to have special made if you was trying to have it made, because, you know, some things are just like you can only get in Detroit City. And then there's some things that you can just get from Amazon, you know what I mean? And it has some Detroit stuff you can get from Amazon. But there's some things that you'll find in Detroit that you can't get from Amazon. You know what I mean? So, you just gotta tour the city, find out the spots. The east side's interesting, the west side's interesting, and downtown is the spot. So, you just gotta, it'd be great if you was on vacation and you got you like a tour guide that could take you around. But if you didn't do that, you could Google some of those hot spots, and then you can go check them out like that, But it just takes some time to see all the stuff that's in Detroit City, and you'll be amazed, and you'll want to go back again. Once you do it and check out some stuff, you'll want to go back again. Because it's like a magnet. It'll draw you back to it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I know when I grew up on Trumbull Avenue in Detroit City, and I had, as years passed, I had moved around Detroit City. So I got stories from, every area that I've stayed in. But the thing is, there was always something that drug me back to Trumbull Avenue. You know what I mean? Like, also I had friends that, almost stayed on Trumbull forever, So that's one thing that took me back to Trumbull. And then, I'd just go there once in a while just to see what changed, what didn't change, because they had, at the time they had the old Tiger Stadium before they tore it down. Then they had the checker cab service right across from Tiger Stadium. Then they had home plate on the corner across from Tiger Stadium. Then they had you can't forget the Union Halls, because the Union Halls is what, basically ran Detroit anyways. And the Union Halls was a pretty good place to check out, and I worked for them too. And it's just interesting, you just have to go check it out. And a lot of times it's good to, if you see the people in the area and stuff like that, if you're not afraid to approach people. Some people are, some people ain't. But a lot of times it's good to talk to people, and if you could run into somebody that's been there, since the 80s or since the 70s or something like that, you're going to get a good conversation. You know what I mean? They can tell you a lot of good stuff. What you're going to learn from me on this channel, a whole lot of stuff about Detroit. And but it's really my upbringing and, the way I grew up and stuff like that, and some of it's funny, some of it's, sad, and some of it's, outrageous, and some of it's crazy. But it's just a whole slew of something. It's just like a recipe book, like a cookbook or something like that. It's kind of like that, it's just got all kinds of stuff in there, and all kinds of seasons, So it's really interesting. So I hope everybody just stays with this channel and support this channel and keep everything rolling. And there's a story I want to tell you on 14th Street. And I'll get back to that on my next video. And it's real interesting. So stay tuned. Be looking out for the next video. And keep showing your support. And I'm out.